Hi everyone, very good morning to all of you. Welcome back to the CA class. So we are going to discuss, as usual, the ESI finance, banking and regulatory news. Today I'm going to cover 15th to 20th November. Let's begin with the session. I hope I'm clearly audible. If there is anything, please let me know. All right. So first thing which we have today is cumulative exports, the merchandise plus services exports during the April to October time period. So this is regarding the export data. Let's see. So the data basically says that India's total exports, it is merchandise plus services combined, for October 2025, it stood at $72.89 billion. How much? $72.89 billion. Okay. Total imports, if you see, merchandise plus services combined, $94.7 billion. Now you can clearly see a current account deficit here, isn't it? Yes or no? Don't you see a current account deficit? What is current account deficit or trade deficit basically? So trade deficit kya hai? When your imports are higher than your exports, right? And because trade is an item recorded into the current account BOP, so when there is a trade deficit, the overall, if you see, it leads to current account deficit. So this is a deficit situation. After that, what is important is, ये सारी चीजें नहीं याद रखनी. Top 5 export destinations. Cumulative data आप याद रखेंगे. After that, if you look at the top 5 export destinations, so these are very, very important. Top 5 may remember the ranking as it is. The first one is US, then China, then UAE, then Spain, and then after Spain you have Hong Kong. So remember the correct order. US, China, UAE, Spain and Hong Kong. These are the top 5 export destinations which we have. And particularly if we talk about services exports, so services exports is estimated to grow by 9.75% during April to October as compared to the same time frame in the previous year. Alright, so this is about the export and import data. And remember the top 5 export destinations, they are very, very important. Top 5 export destinations, top 5 import destinations, and you know about the services that still we have, not in merchandise, but in services we have a trade surplus. We are exporting more of services than what we are importing, right? But in merchandise or in goods, we have a trade deficit. All right. Then next thing we have is regarding the labor force participation rate. So India's labor force participation rate hits 6-month high at 55.4 in the month of October. It is 6-month high, so becomes important. In the month of October, the labor force participation rate is 55.4%. Now, you must know by now, I have discussed this number of times in many classes, in the CA classes only, what is the difference between labor force and workforce, right? So labor force is that percentage of the population which is able to and willing to work. By ability, we mean that they are in the working age group, right? So you are able to work and you are willing to work, then you're a part of labor force. So you might be employed or unemployed. But out of that labor force, those people who get employed, they are the workforce. So remember this basic difference. So Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation ने data दिया है जो LFPR का. So LFPR for the persons of age 15 years and above, it was observed that it has reached 6-month high at 55.4% in the month of October. And if you look at the overall LFPR, among female, it reached at 34.2% in the October as well. Then if you look at the overall worker population ratio, it reported 52.5%, which is also very much rising consistently. So consistently it has been on a rise. And particularly the unemployment rate, the percentage of the labor force which is unemployed, right? So persons aged above 15 years and above, it was 5.2%. ये rate आपको ध्यान रखनी है. Unemployment rate is important. 5.2% in the month of October 2025. I hope that's clear. And LFPR we have discussed number of times, so it should be very much clear what is important. Unemployment rate is important, LFPR is important, female worker population ratio is important because फीमेल का जो डेटा है वो भी इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है आपके लिए, एंड पर्टिकुलरली द अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट, ऑल्सो द बेसिक डिफरेंस बिटवीन द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ LFPR एंड द वर्कर पॉपुलेशन रेशियो. All right, after that we have a regulatory news which says that India now has 13.6 crores investors, 21 crore demat accounts according to SEBI. तो SEBI ने ये डेटा दिया है. SEBI has released this data which says that India now has 13.6 crore investors. So if you are an investor, you must be having a demat account, right? So 13.6 crore investors holding more than 21 crore demat accounts, signaling a strong faith in the market. More than 21 crores demat account. Demat account आपको पता है, it is the very good morning, very good morning, Mayank. Okay, you have completed phase 2 material. Thank you for acknowledging the work. We always strive for the best content for all of you. Do any? No, I don't think ESI में आपको static ज़्यादा काम आएगा. Not at all. Okay. So ESI में you just stick to the current affairs part of it. Revise the latest, reports and all. Report, as I told you, that it is a Ramban for you. So revise the report segment and also the circulars, important speeches, just go through them. Those which might not have been covered. So speeches and circulars, in pe aap focus kijiye. Not so much of a static for ESI as of now. For phase 2, focus on the latest part of it. All right. बाकी इंपॉर्टेंट सर्कुलर्स और स्पीचेस हमने कवर करने की कोशिश की है उसमें. उसके अलावा आप बस एक बार देख लेंगे जो भी लेटेस्ट नोटिफिकेशंस या प्रेस रिलीजेस आई हैं, तो जस्ट गो थ्रू देम. दैट वुड बी मोर बेनिफिशियल इन टर्म्स ऑफ इनपुट आउटपुट रेशियो. ओके, चलिए. सो ऑलराइट, नेवर माइंड. 21 करोड़ डीमेट अकाउंट्स have been there. डीमेट आपको पता है, डीमटेरियलाइज फॉर्म. तो अगर आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट करना है, आप सिक्योरिटीज किस में होल्ड करते हैं, इट इज नॉट अ बैंक अकाउंट, राइट? इट इज नॉट अ सेविंग्स अकाउंट, इट इज अ डीमेट अकाउंट. अच्छा, डीमेट अकाउंट को ओपन करने के लिए और इनको मेंटेन कौन करता है? सो वी हैव 2 डिपॉजिटरीज. रेगुलेट और मेंटेन कौन करता है? वी हैव 2 डिपॉजिटरीज, द CDSL एंड द NSDL, राइट? तो CDSL एंड NSDL हमारे पास 2 डिपॉजिटरीज हैं फॉर दिस पर्पस, which regulate the demat accounts and all. So basically it is signaling that more people are getting into the financial markets, right? So the sentiment is positive. After that we have Electronics Development Fund, very, very important. The government has set up, the government of India has launched a dedicated fund, Electronics Development Fund. Electronics Development Fund on 15th of February 2016 to promote research development into electronics, then nano electronics and information technology. So purpose क्या है? First of all, the purpose is to ensure that we bring more R&D, to bring more R&D into technology, electronics technology, nano electronics and information technology. Okay. And it has been established as a fund of funds. What is a fund of funds? Fund of funds क्या होता है? This is a fund like a parent fund, right? So it would be supporting a daughter fund. It would be investing into other funds which are working in this field. So designed to invest professionally in the professionally managed daughter funds such as early stage angel and venture funds. तो ये fund of funds है. Now there might be some angel funds, some venture funds. Venture funds आपको पता है venture funds क्या होते हैं? Venture funds भी generally they invest into early stage startups, particularly most promising startups with innovative solutions, and they mobilize the capital, right? Angel funds क्या होता है? Angel fund mobilize नहीं करता है इतने लोगों से capital, but ये भी startups में invest करते हैं. तो venture capitalists generally they mobilize from say high net worth individuals. So इस टाइप के फंड्स में इनको हम बोल रहे हैं डॉटर फंड्स. सो फंड ऑफ फंड इज हियर, fund of fund is here, it would be providing this to daughter funds. Daughter funds, right? Those who are operating in this field. And such daughter fund which would receive support from this fund of funds is required to be registered in India. It has to be registered into the Indian law and comply with all the applicable laws and regulations, including these SEBI regulations 2012 as category 1 or category 2 AIF. तो ये आपको ध्यान रखना है. This daughter fund which might be eligible to receive this fund should be either category 1 or category 2 alternative investment fund. Category 1, category 2 AIF हम काफी बार डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, तो I hope you know this by now, right? ऑल्टरनेटिव इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड क्या होते हैं? जो नॉन ट्रेडिशनल नॉन कन्वेंशनल सिक्योरिटीज में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, लाइक अपार्ट फ्रॉम म्यूचुअल फंड दे माइट बी इन्वेस्टिंग इनटू हेज फंड्स, वेंचर कैपिटल एटसेट्रा. तो कैटेगरी 1, कैटेगरी 2 काइंड ऑफ AIF it has to be, and it should be registered into Indian law. All right, so this is regarding 15th to 17th. Then we have the next one, 18th November. Let's see what do we have here. Okay, there's a CAFE norm. What is this CAFE norm? Corporate Average Fuel Economy Norms in News. So the central government has been planning to update these corporate average fuel efficiency norms, which aim at regulating the average carbon dioxide output at an automaker's entire fleet. So if you are an automaker, under these norms, they want to regulate your entire fleet should emit how much of carbon dioxide, whatever fleet you are manufacturing. You are manufacturing 2-wheelers, you are manufacturing 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, EVs, right? So your entire fleet, what should be the average carbon dioxide output of that entire fleet of an automaker? In September, if you see, draft CAFE 3 and 4 norms were released. Draft norms were released, which set stricter limits on how much carbon dioxide emissions the cars will be allowed. Okay, and according to the CAFE 3, which is planned for 2027 से 2032, इसका plan जो है government का to be implemented, it is to be implemented between 2027 and 2032. According to that, the car makers must bring their fleet average emissions down to 91.7 gram per kilometer. Okay, and then after that 2032 से 2037 CAFE 4 would be implemented, और उसके लिए भी इन्होंने इतना limit set किया है. Now one very important thing is, a question which can be framed out of here is, CAFE norms are designed by Bureau of Energy Efficiency, and officially issued through Ministry of Power. So remember this thing as well. It can be a probable question. These are designed by Bureau of Energy Efficiency and they are officially issued through Ministry of Power. But the compliance is together checked along with the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. So whether you are complying with the norms or not, it is checked along with the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. This was about the CAFE norms. The next thing we have is Yuva AI for All. The government has launched Yuva AI for All, free national AI learning course. तो national level पे free AI learning course है to empower the youth with at least basic AI tools, right? So here the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has brought this under India AI mission. It is Yuva AI for All. Yuva AI for All. किन प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे आप इस फ्री कोर्स को एक्सेस कर सकते हैं? इट इज 4.5 आवर सेल्फ पेस्ड कोर्स है. आप अपने स्पीड के हिसाब से, अपने पेस पर इसको देख सकते हैं. So the course is available for free on leading platforms like Future Skills Prime, then iGod Kamayogi and other popular edtech portals. So in portals पे you can access the course. Yuva AI for all. I think this is very basic, and since it is free, so at least basic knowledge of AI should be worth it, right? All right. Then the health minister has launched national action plan on antimicrobial resistance 2.0. तो antimicrobial resistance 2.0 इन्होंने लॉन्च किया है. What is antimicrobial resistance? Antimicrobial resistance कैसे डेवलप होता है? It is when the bacteria, for example, जिसके लिए आपने medicines ली हैं, so when you misuse or there is overdose of the antibiotics, so sometimes they develop resistance to those medicines. It does not work on them, right? So overdose and misuse are the primary reasons. So here antimicrobial resistance is a major public health concern nowadays, and it can only be addressed through collective action. They have recognized this. So they have launched the second version of the National Action Plan on antimicrobial resistance. इसका tenure आपका रहेगा 2025 से 2029. It would be applicable from 2025 to 2029. Regarding this, there was a national task force as well, which was constituted in 2010, leading to the development of national policy on AMR containment by 2011. And regarding this, the most important fact which you can have out of this PPT is Kerala and Gujarat are the first states to ban over-the-counter sales of antibiotics. So remember, which are the two states? Kerala and Gujarat. Kerala and Gujarat are the first to ban over-the-counter sales of antibiotics. Okay, then next thing we have is government has launched 210 crore rupees research program for critical minerals. So as I've told you again and again that there are certain focus areas जिनको आप important रखेंगे हमेशा CA के revision में, like semiconductor, any scheme, any initiative, any fund related to semiconductors, EVs, right? Then pulses, like we have oil seeds mission. So oil seeds, pulses, semiconductor, EV, battery energy storage system. After that, you also have the critical mineral mission. We have a dedicated mission for that, India AI mission. So these are national level missions. Government is particularly supporting and focusing them, so becomes important for the exam as well. So government has announced 210 crore research program for critical raw materials for 3 years. Just a second. All right. Now this is a 3-year program to be run by the Anusandhan National Research Foundation. कौन रन कर रहा है इसको? It is to be run by Anusandhan National Research Foundation along with the Ministry of Mines. So remember the associated ministry as well. Ministry of Mines is associated here. The 9 centers of excellence earlier recognized by Mines Ministry were these. They are working towards critical minerals. तो centers of excellence जो है वो इसमें काम करेंगे. Centers of excellence 9 हैं in this field. Remember, you have IIT Bombay, IIT Hyderabad, then ISM Dhanbad, IIT Roorkee. Then we have Indian Institute of Minerals and Materials, Bhubaneswar, National Metallurgical Laboratory, Jamshedpur, Non-Ferrous Materials Technology Development Center, Hyderabad, then IISc Bangalore, and last but not least, a Center for Materials for Electronics and Technology, Hyderabad. These are the 9 centers of excellence operating for this purpose. After that, we have E-Jagriti, revolutionizing consumer justice in 2025. Here, first of all, you need to remember the extended form of E-Jagriti. E-Jagriti. What does E-Jagriti stands for? Remember the full form. E-Jagriti stands for E-Justice and grievance redressal through information technology and innovation. e-justice and grievance redressal through information technology and innovation. It is e-Jagriti. Okay, it is a platform under Department of Consumer Affairs and has emerged as a transformative digital grievance redressal system. तो consumers के लिए it is a kind of grievance redressal system. It has worked a lot for consumer protection and it has redressed a lot of grievances, registering over 2 lakh users since its launch in January 1, 2025. So remember, it is a flagship initiative of Department of Consumer Affairs, Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. And remember the full form. After that, very, very importantly, I'm again saying very important, 16th Finance Commission. 16th Finance Commission has submitted its report to the President of India for 2026-27 to 2030-31 tenure. यहीं से आपका एक क्वेश्चन बन जाता है, what is the tenure of 16th Finance Commission? Right now you see 15th Finance Commission's recommendations are into force. It is going to end in 2026. 31st March 2026, and from 1st April 2026 the recommendation of the 16th Finance Commission are to be enforced. So they have submitted their report to the President. Why do they submit their report to the President? Constitution requires them to do so. तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है फाइनेंस कमीशन. इसका स्टैटिक पार्ट हमने ईएसआई में काफी अच्छे से कवर किया है, इफ यू रिमेंबर. So finance commission first of all is a constitutional body because article 280 of Indian Constitution requires to set up finance commission. So the article 280 of the Indian Constitution says that a finance commission should be set up every 5 years. Every 5 years. By whom? By the President of India. Every 5 years by the President of India. So this is the constitutional requirement. So it is a constitutional body, right? And you must remember that the 16th Finance Commission is being chaired by Arvind Pangadia. Who is the chairperson of the 16th Finance Commission? Dr. Arvind Pangadia. Dr. Arvind Pangadia has been once before that he has been vice chairperson of the Niti Aayog as well. So very important name. Remember, Dr. Arvind Pangadia is chairing the 16th Finance Commission. And it would be recommending the distribution of net proceeds of the between the center and states for the taxes 2026 से 2031 तक. और आपको पता है फाइनेंस कमीशन क्या करता है? फाइनेंस कमीशन का प्राइमरी जो टर्म्स ऑफ रेफरेंस है आफ्टर बियॉन्ड ऑल अदर रिकमेंडेशंस व्हिच इट गिव्स, प्राइमरी इनका टर्म्स ऑफ रेफरेंस क्या है? टू रेकमेंड ऑन वर्टिकल एंड हॉरिजॉन्टल डेवोल्यूशन. Vertical and horizontal devolution of taxes, devolution and distribution of taxes. So out of the central divisible pool of taxes, those taxes out of which state has a share, how much of that central pool of taxes is to go to the states? तो एक percentage finance commission आपको देगा that this much out of the central divisible pool of taxes is to go to the states. This is vertical devolution, right? फॉर एग्जाम्पल 15th फाइनेंस कमीशन ने कितना दिया हुआ है? 15th फाइनेंस कमीशन ने आपका जो वर्टिकल डेवोल्यूशन एट प्रेजेंट इंप्लीमेंटेड है वो है 41%. हाउ मच? 41%. सो 41% आउट ऑफ द सेंट्रल divisible pool of taxes goes to the states. This is known as vertical devolution. But out of this 41%, there are parameters which they decide. On those parameters, which state would get how much is the horizontal distribution. ठीक है? So out of this, which state is going to receive how much is the horizontal devolution. ये ही इनका प्राइमरी रिकमेंडेशन होता है. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस ग्रांट्स इन एड वगैरह भी रिकमेंड करते हैं. सो this is regarding 16th Finance Commission. Then if you look at the regulatory bodies news, so here we have RBI's 10% tier 1 cap on acquisition financing restrictive. So this is what, let me explain you here. RBI in a draft circular recently has said that banks, if you want to finance Indian companies acquisition or full or controlling stake, any kind of such thing, a company is acquiring a full stake, a company is acquiring some percentage into the other company, acquisition जो भी हो रहा है, if they approach you to finance that, if they approach you to borrow for that, तो आप कितना finance कर सकते हैं? So the RBI has said that you can finance up to 70% of the acquisition cost. So for example, if your acquisition cost is 1,000 crore rupees, If the total acquisition cost is 1,000 crore rupees and the company ABC goes to a bank to finance that, the bank can finance up to 70% of it only. That means 700 crores. All right. And of course, तो 70% एक्विजिशन कॉस्ट आप फाइनेंस कर सकते हैं विद द एक्वायरर कंट्रीब्यूटिंग रिमेनिंग 30% थ्रू इक्विटी. जो एक्वायरर है वो रिमेनिंग 30% अपना बेयर करेगा थ्रू इक्विटी. ऑलराइट. एंड द एक्वायरिंग कंपनी मस्ट बी अ लिस्टेड एंटिटी. Is not for everyone. It must be a listed entity. जो भी acquiring company है, it must be a listed entity with satisfactory net worth record and at least 3 years of profitability. आपका जो balance sheet है, आपका जो performance है वो देखा जाएगा. At least past 3 years you should be in a position of net profit, not net loss. Okay, so this is the requirement. And one more thing which you need to remember here is that RBI has also proposed capping a bank's total exposure to such financing at 10% of your tier 1 capital. तो आपका जो tier 1 capital होता है, आपने बेसल नॉर्म्स पढ़े हैं राइट फाइनेंस में. बेसल नॉर्म्स के हिसाब से जो आपका टियर 1 कैपिटल का कंपोनेंट है इज द कोर कैपिटल व्हिच अ बैंक शुड हैव, है ना, अ कोर कैपिटल. तो टियर 1 आपका जो कैपिटल है उसके 10% से ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. इट कैन नॉट गो बियॉन्ड 10% ऑफ योर टियर 1 कैपिटल. Okay. Then some banking news. So we have PayU. PayU has received RBI approval to operate as a multi-mode payment aggregator. PayU को multi-mode payment aggregator की permission मिली है. Multi-mode है यहाँ पर. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि PayU था नहीं पहले. PayU पहले भी था. But now it can use that. You know, it can work online, offline. That means physical mode. Also cross-border payment aggregator. So it would be working as a cross-border payment aggregator as well. अच्छा, पेमेंट एग्रीगेटर होता क्या है एग्जैक्टली? पेमेंट एग्रीगेटर क्या करता है? कोई भी ऐसी फिनटेक या इंटरमीडियरी होगी जो मर्चेंट को हेल्प करता है टू एक्सेप्ट द डिजिटल पेमेंट्स विदाउट नीडिंग टू डायरेक्टली टाई अप विद एवरी बैंक और अ कार्ड नेटवर्क. फॉर एग्जांपल रेजर पे. किसी मर्चेंट से आपने कुछ खरीदा, ठीक है, यू बॉट समथिंग फ्रॉम अ मर्चेंट और उसका पेमेंट आपने यूपीआई के थ्रू किया, वो रेजर पे पावर्ड है. सो रेजर पे हियर फॉर एग्जांपल इज द पेमेंट एग्रीगेटर. So the money is collected by Razorpay. It is settled by Razorpay, taking their own share, the fees, the fine, sorry, not fine, the share. तो Razorpay ने अपना portion रख लिया and then after that they send it back to the merchant. So merchant receives the payment. Razorpay has provided all these things. So you need not necessarily have account with every bank. So these are the payment aggregators. I hope that's clear. That's the role of payment aggregator. जैसे आपने देखा है Mastercard, Razorpay, Razorpay powered है. तो Razorpay powered है मतलब Razorpay would be enabling all these transactions for the merchant, right? So PayU now will be working as online, offline as well as cross-border transactions के लिए भी it would be working as cross-border payment aggregator under the Payment and Settlement System Act 2007. And there is one more, the InfiBeam Avenues. InfiBeam Avenues also received the RBI's authorization to operate as a payment aggregator physical. तो इसको payment aggregator physical mode में operate करने का license मिला है. After that we have SBI PAG's real GDP growth in second quarter at 7.5%. So SBI के Economic Research Department has projected real GDP growth for India for the second quarter of financial year 2026 at 7.5%. Reason क्या है? They are expecting an pickup. You know, they are expecting an increase in the investment activities, recovery in rural consumption, and buoyancy in services and manufacturing. So that's why they have pegged 7.5% of the real GDP है ये, nominal नहीं है. And if it is 7.5% real GDP growth, that means real production and employment is going to happen, right? You know the difference between real GDP and nominal GDP. Real GDP is calculated at base year prices and nominal GDP is calculated at current year prices. After that, we have South Indian Bank. South Indian Bank launches SIB her account for women. साउथ इंडियन बैंक ने एक स्पेसिफिक फीचर निकाला है, SIB, South Indian Bank, her account. Now this is particularly catering to the women, right? It is a savings account exclusively designed for women. So kind of account is savings account. You can maintain it as a saving account to empower the women. It is available for women between ages 18 to 54 years. Age group क्या है? 18 to 54 years. Now you have to maintain a monthly balance of 50,000 rupees. However, this requirement is waived if they maintain a fixed deposit of 1 lakh rupees or achieve debit card transaction of 50,000 in the previous month. तो ये particularly women के लिए है. Minimum balance यहाँ पर 50,000 rupees है, but 50,000 rupees की condition waive off हो जाएगी if in the previous month you have had a fixed deposit of 1 lakh rupees or you have had a debit card transaction of worth 50,000 rupees. After that, we have Master Capital Services gets SEBI nod to launch its mutual fund business. So Master Capital Services has received in principle approval from the SEBI to sponsor a mutual fund. So basically now after that, the Master Capital Services will be establishing an AMC, asset management company, and then it can launch mutual fund schemes. Okay, so just remember the name here. Then we have something regarding Axis Bank. Axis Bank launches curated salary program for startup employees. एक्सिस बैंक ने एक क्यूरेटेड कॉर्पोरेट सैलरी प्रोग्राम निकाला है फॉर एम्प्लॉइज ऑफ स्टार्टअप्स अंडर इट्स न्यू इकोनॉमी ग्रुप. सो टारगेटिंग दोज एम्प्लॉइज विच आर वर्किंग इनटू स्टार्टअप्स, ओके, and digital businesses. So they are offering them zero balance saving account, insurance cover which is very comprehensive, exclusive credit card privileges and personalized loan options. जहां पर आपका इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम है ₹2,499 per person per annum. This is the insurance premium which you are getting. 2,499 per person per annum and covers the employee, spouse and children up to ₹30 lakh. So this is the initiative they have brought in, a very comprehensive insurance cover along with that. Now next one we have is 19th to 20th November. Okay. So India Post has unveiled first Gen Z themed post office at IIT Delhi. Just have a look at it. India Post का पहला Gen Z themed post office है. They have launched it at IIT Delhi. You know, nowadays Gen Zs are getting incorporated. So they are working into, they are incorporated into the labor force and the workforce. Work culture is also gradually shifting in India with the Gen Zs, right? So new mindset, new way of doing things, new opportunities. India Post is also recognizing that. So India Post has launched this first Gen Z themed post office at IIT Delhi because, you know, change is the only constant. So we have to move along with that. Otherwise, we stay backward. So first Gen Z themed revamped post office was inaugurated at IIT Delhi. Because the minister also has a vision, you know, that we need to transform our offices, our workplaces, our corporate offices which resonate with the youth, with the students, because the youth is the Gen Z. It should resonate with them, right? It should incorporate them fully. After that, we have Ministry of Jal Shakti launching Hamara Shauchalay, Hamara Bhavishya campaign on World Toilet Day 2025. Recently, we have covered World Toilet Day in some of the CA classes. So Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation under the Ministry of Jal Shakti has launched a nationwide campaign, Hamara Shauchalay, Hamara Bhavishya. Okay. This is not so much important, just this much remember. After that, we have India's core sector output stagnating in the month of October. तो जो 8 कोर इंडस्ट्रीज हैं आपकी, 8 core industries का output, it has stagnated in the month of October. It has remained unchanged at 162.4 as compared to the index value in October last year. Because if you look at the cumulative growth rate of the 8 core industries, index of 8 core industries from April to October, it was 2.5%. Okay, and you must remember the 8 core industries कौन-कौन सी हैं? Coal, crude oil, gas, refinery, natural gas, steel, cement and fertilizer. One very important thing जो अभी तक आपको याद हो गई होगी, that the 8 core industries, these 8 core industries, they have 40.27% weightage in your index of industrial production. IIP, which is very important indicator of the industrial performance. तो IIP में इसका weightage कितना है? 40.27. 40.27. And the highest weightage is of petroleum and refinery production 28.04 और lowest weightage है आपका fertilizers का, which is 2.63. Regulatory news. May we have SEBI unveiling reforms to improve FPI experience. जो फॉरेन पोर्टफोलियो इन्वेस्टर्स होते हैं, तो अभी इट्स जस्ट अ प्लान, इस पे कुछ कॉन्क्रीट नहीं आया है. SEBI is working on a series of reforms जिसमें we want to improve the experience for FPIs because we want more capital to be brought in, right? We want to bring in more capital in forms of foreign portfolio investment. तो ऐसी चीजों पे SEBI अभी काम कर रहा है. So here is the data which says that the foreign portfolio investors, they hold 17% of the country's listed equity market. जो listed equity market है उसमें total assets 17% they are holding, right? Or in absolute terms if you see it is $876 billion. तो एक नया सिस्टम ये बनाने का प्रपोजल है, इनका प्रोसेस है, कंप्लीटली पेपरलेस होगा, डिजिटल सिग्नेचर्स होंगे, एनहांस्ड सिक्योरिटी फीचर्स होंगे, डेटा प्राइवेसी कंसिडर की जाएगी, ऑल दीज सिस्टम्स, राइट, सो दैट वी कैन गेट मोर कैपिटल इनटू आवर कंट्री बिकॉज सिक्योरिटी इज वेरी मच एन इशू राइट नाउ. All right. So that was it for this. These were your finance and banking and regulatory news from 15th to 20th November. Remaining will be covered in the further classes. Thank you so much everyone for staying tuned. Have a wonderful day.